Hey everyone, we're continuing with our optimal movement series, and I want to talk about a concept today. It's called a bow. So I'm taking this concept from a movement approach. It's called go to movement. It's really just going back to like how we were meant to move, and that's why it's part of optimal movement, because our whole body as one musculoskeletal system was designed to move in a very specific way. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to highlight one of the main movements that we want to see in people to see if they're moving the way they should. So basically, it's the concept. It's called a bow, and so I'm going to demonstrate that. That's why I'm sitting, because I'm going to have to move the camera down a little bit to show you like what a bow looks like. But let's talk about like what are some of the things what are the type of injuries that we see for people who aren't bowing well. So like when their foot engages with the ground, you should see a bow form, and I'm going to show you in a second. But here are the type of injuries that we see from this. Chronic Achilles tendonitis. We see ankle sprains. We see ACL tears, meniscus tears, a lot of hip impingement, low back pain. Basically, a lot of these chronic injuries that you see these athletes on TV, you see them tear their ACL, it's because they're not bowing well. And some of the same nagging injuries that we see here in the clinic are from not moving our body properly. And it really comes down to making sure that our foot is engaging with the ground properly. So go to one of the big things it talks about is your foundation. Your foundation, what they're basically trying to describe is like your arch is the foundation of your foot, but it's also the foundation of your whole body too. So everything, basically your shin is going to joy on top of your foot. And so the problem is when people lose their arch or they toe their foot out, what happens is their shin gets pulled in, and basically their knee can't move well, their hip can't move right, and their low back can't move well. So we see a lot of chronic injuries coming from people not bowing well. And so I'm going to show you real quick like what a proper bow looks like, what a good bow looks like, and what a bad bow looks like. Okay, so I know you can't see my face right now, but what we're doing is we're reenacting sort of what it looks like to engage with the ground. So when I'm assessing someone's gait, or I'm watching them run, what we're looking to see is like, does their foot stay straight? And this is the bow that we're looking for. Maybe not walking, you're not going to see people do this, but it's exaggerated. But in running, you'll see this. So you can see like I have this bow coming up like this. My kneecap is rotating out, and my leg isn't in a straight line. It's slightly out like that. Now the problem is, when you see people get hurt, this is the type of bow that you're going to see. You see this reverse bow, and this is what leads to all these problems here in the ankle, the knee, and the hip, is because this is happening. So we need to train people to form a bow going out and sitting back in the hip. So your whole body is going back into this bow pattern. So now that we've talked about what the bow is and sort of what it looks like, I'm going to try to give you some exercises to help recreate this bow, because the problem is this is a movement pattern, and this is a pattern that your brain is not doing well. So not only do we need to work on your strength, your mobility, but we need to retrain the brain to move your body, because your body moves in patterns. And this is a pattern that a lot of people lose because of the way they train and just like poor posture throughout their life. You'll see a lot of people with their knee going in, whereas we want the knee going out when we're stepping. So I'm going to give you 3 exercises that you can do. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes a day, and this is going to help. Basically, it's going to help you bow as you're walking, as you're moving, just throughout normal life. So the first exercise we're doing is we're going to get on your knees like this. So you want to have 2 fists in between the knees, and you want your feet, your heels to be going away. So if you look here, my heels are going away like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is so we're forming the bow, so because our knees are out, we're going to sit back like this. We're going to have one hand here, the opposite hand here, and we're going to work on going back like this. So we're working on loading your leg correctly, just like that. So we're going to sit back. Okay. So one fist on the sternum, the other fist right in front of the armpit. We're going to do this, almost like if you've ever played basketball. You're taking the ball and you're getting yourself in triple threat. This is an athletic position. Okay. And then we're going to do 20 to the right, just like that. And then we're going to do 20 to the left, really making sure you're trying to push your feet into the ground. You might feel a good little ankle stretch with this, but the point of this, one, we're trying to recreate the bow, but you want to feel your glutes and your lower back engage as you're doing this, because you're trying to get your tail behind your rib cage. We're trying to sit back like this. Okay, so that's one exercise. Shouldn't take you too long to do that one. So we're going with exercise number 2. I'm going to have to stay on the ground because I'm going to show, if I stand up too tall, you're not going to be able to see me. So this is called just a no support bow. So you're going to be like standing out in the middle of the room. You're going to have your feet fist width. And then what I want you to do is I want you to come up on your toes and take your knees slightly out like this. So I'll skip back a little bit. So your knees are going to be out. You're going to sit back, and I want you to lift your tail up, and you're just going to hold this. Okay? So your knees are going out. My tail's up. You want to have your back parallel to the ground, and you're just trying to hold that. And I'm looking up the whole time. So if you look, you see this from the side. You're going here. So tail up. I'm bent forward, and I'm holding it. So all 5 toes stay on the ground. My kneecaps are going out. My heels stay off. Working on that. Okay. The goal with this would be to try to hold it 2 to 3 minutes. That would be fantastic. This next one is going to be the hardest one because we're going to go down to one leg. So if 2 is pretty difficult, I would probably stay with that for a few weeks, and you could add in this last one. Okay, so let's go with exercise number 3. So I'm just going to imagine for the camera purposes that the wall's right in front of me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back like this. So my right foot is going forward, my knee is slightly out. I'm sitting back into this hip, and then if the wall's in front, I can just hold this. Okay, and I'm just trying to balance right here. Okay, if you want to, you can bring this leg in. So if I'm going from the side, I'm going here, and I'm coming back, and I'm tapping. Back like that. Okay, so my right leg's taking all the force, and my kneecap is going out because I'm forming the bow, and I'm coming up and going out like that. Okay, I'll show you from this direction too. So we're going here. So I'm trying to sit back into this hip. My chest is rotated toward my knee, and we're coming up. Back like that. Okay, so we just got through those 3 exercises. So try to do these for the first week or 2. I would probably start with the first 2 because they're going to be the easiest, and then once you get good at it, then you can go up to the 3rd one. But sometimes these can be hard to show on a video like this, and so going online, if you go to Google, you might be able to type side-to-side rocker hold, a no support bow, and then like I believe the last one's called a front side tap against the wall, or single leg bow at the wall. They might have better videos if you're having a hard time seeing that. But yeah, try those for the first 2 weeks. The next video that we're going to shoot is we're going to focus on the corner. So we talked about like putting weight through your leg and how you load your leg when you're walking or when you're running. This next time we're going to talk about how we transfer the energy off the leg and we start to step on to the left. And so there's a certain pattern that we're looking for there, but we have to bow first before we can corner well. So try these for the next 2 weeks and then come back in 2 weeks and we'll give you a whole new set of exercises.